If you have any questions or concerns about this week's episode, please call or text producer Dan at 778-288-9255. Start the party, Dan! It's time to turn it up. We're getting crazy, going wild, talking nasty stuff. Dudes scrolling hell sites, hot dumpster fire. Boom, roast, mad post, sticking up the replies. We don't want to go to school, we don't want to get a job. We just want to get online and get our asses blocked. We don't follow the rules, we do whatever we want. It's Block Party, the podcast, like we'll tweet in a duck. Block Party, Block Party, Block Party, my missions are fucked. Block Party, Block Party, Block Party, I quote tweet in a duck. Hello, friends, idiots, and friends who are also idiots. Welcome to your favorite podcast about social media and rejection. It is Blocked Party. This is episode number 295. I'm John.
I'm Stefan.
And with us is a fantastic guest, returning guest to the program, one of our faves here on Blocked Party, very funny comedian and host of the brand new podcast called I Hate Bill Maher. Will Weldon is here. Hi, Will.
What's up, Will?
Hey guys, thanks for having me. And I just wanted to start off by saying nothing's really going on with my social media lately. Just wanted to get that out of the way immediately.
All right, we'll just not do that segment for the first time in 295 episodes. We'll just skip it.
That's fine. Yeah,
that's no problem.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of people just aren't engaging with social media these days. You know,
who can blame them? You know,
so that is a little sneak preview. That's kind of what my social media update is about.
Okay.
But in a real way where it's something to talk about. I also wanted to say that the current theme song for the show, I thought about this previously, and now I can say it to your faces instead of just sort of in my mind and then imagining you guys like chuckling. It just reminds me of like, it's like, do you guys know that Black Flag song, TV Party?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like TV Party if it was like written and performed by guys who got pretty good grades in high school is what it sounds like to me.
I think that's right.
Yeah. I mean, Stefan and I got pretty good grades in high school. So,
and I think
we didn't write it.
Big Howell probably did too.
Big Howell probably did. I mean, Will, not to spoil anything here, but this theme song is only going to be around for 5 more episodes.
That's right. Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah, we change the theme song every 100 episodes. So we're coming up on 300 and we will have a brand new theme song, and we need a brand new show opening as well.
I know. I think we should make Dan show his cock.
Sure, I'll do that. Whatever.
Yeah.
It'll be great on a podcast medium because it'll just be the guest going,
well,
whoa!
It's not medium, I don't think.
I don't think the guest is going to go, whoa, either.
Well, I mean,
you're just going to hear the guest like panting and drooling and going, oh god, and like hitting themselves in the head with a shoe.
How would it start? It would be like, all right, Dan, show us that thing, you know? And then Dan.
Well, we've had Rip It Dan and Start the Party Dan. So obviously we would have Whip It Out Dan.
Whip It Out Dan. Yeah.
I mean, you guys have made me whip it up before.
We didn't make you do that. You sent me a picture of your cock at the live show, and I didn't ask for it. But I thank you for doing it. So.
Well, no, you guys made me whip my ball sack out one time.
Well, again, with any time we have these conversations, it's always you guys wrong.
Yeah.
I absolutely did not ask to see any part of your package at any time.
You were there.
Yeah.
Though.
Mr. CBC money
out of respect for Dan.
Mr. CBC money can't be having this kind of stain on his reputation now. You're getting those government contracts.
I mean, there has to be I'm sure there is at least a slight Broomgate to Blocked Party pipeline, and I am sure every one of those people is hating it. Really?
Well, let's ask. Yeah, like if anyone has found John through Broomgate and is now listening to Blocked Party. First of all, thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And it'll be like a guy, presumably. It'll be like one guy.
Yeah.
And so thank you. Thank you for sticking around.
I've just imagined the perfect bridge show for those two projects to like bring together listeners of like Blocked Party and Broomgate. That show, it's a weekly hockey podcast hosted by John Cullen and the Oilers girl. I really think that would be the perfect bridge for those two audiences.
I mean, her people have reached out.
Yeah.
We're both in Alberta, so I think she's probably has a lot to say about stuff.
Yeah.
I was telling my wife, I was like looking at how many people are listening to I Hate Bill Maher, how many downloads I get for each episode in the first 7 days. I'm like, that's okay. That's not bad. And then Google just like recommended me a story about like the Oilers girl on the Spit and Chicklets podcast. And I was like, there's no universe in which this woman does not have a more successful media career than me right now at this very moment.
You need to get
I don't know how happy I am anymore.
You got to get the Hawk Tua girl on there.
Yes. Yeah, what does she think about Bill Maher, you know?
I don't know. She's been hanging out with Shaq a bunch, I think.
I saw that.
Yeah, so I
she was on stage with Luke Bryan, I believe.
Yeah, I think she quit her job at, it was like a really weird job. It was like a spring factory or something. Let me look this up. I need to look this up.
She bounced her way to another job.
How many employees does the spring factory do? Well, we got the person who makes sure the metal pours properly, and then we've got the person very quickly twisting it while it's still kind of warm before it sets.
She worked at a spring factory in her Tennessee hometown. So I was right about that. Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah.
For her,
yeah.
You know?
God,
Shout out to that.
Yeah.
Such a home from World War II kind of job. Like that's like the job our grandfathers had.
or like women would have had like during the war.
Yes.
Like I started working in a spring factory. We make the springs that go in guns or whatever.
Yeah. I was actually working at the dick sucking factory, and then I had a viral clip about springs, and so now I'm leaning into springs completely, sort of the reverse of
the boing boing girl.
Yeah.
You know, I gotta go boing boing. I did see one tweet that made me laugh about it. The only tweet that made me laugh about it, and I think it was Rax King, maybe past guest of the show, or maybe it was Raina. I can't remember, but someone had a tweet where they were just like, "I feel bad for this girl because every time she hooks up with a guy for the rest of her life, she's gonna have to suck his dick, and she can't just have you can't be the Hawk Tua girl and not suck a guy off."
Yeah, that is true. That's a good point.
Like, yeah, that's true. Actually, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's true, but
for me it would be the opposite. If I hooked up with the Hawk Tua girl and she sucked my dick, I'd be like, wow, like this is great. I can't believe it. Live in person.
I'm in a meme right now.
Yeah, it'd be like running into like, I don't know, a celebrity with a catchphrase. You're running into like Dwayne Johnson being like, can you call me a jabroni? And he's like, I'll call you a jabroni, kid. Sure, why not? I don't do this for everybody, but I like your stuff, kid.
You're a real special fan.
Yeah, by your stuff, I mean the way you spit on my dick while you were sucking me off.
Did you guys see I didn't realize this. The UK is obviously like super insane and everything, but what
are you talking about, man? Very normal. I was just there.
Sure. But when there's an election, everyone who ran for the MP like position has to stand on stage together, and that includes the people who had like one vote.
The guy that kind of looked like the Thing.
Oh, he's wearing So there's this guy right here. Dan, I'm gonna send you this guy. I wanted to get this out here because it's so funny. This is a guy wearing a baked bean mask, and he's standing next to maybe the biggest dickhead running for Parliament who lost. Jacob Rees-Mogg, I think is the guy's name. Like the richest prick around. And it's so good that he just has to, he's humiliated. He's coming second, I think. And he has to stand next to the baked beans guy on stage. And they both lost. Like they both basically, it's just so.
I like that he has a bigger ribbon than the baked bean guy though.
Yeah,
just to be
having to wear the ribbon is almost more degrading than being next to the baked bean guy.
It's like being a show dog, right? Like
Yeah, they're like this looks like a picture of like my brother when he was in 4-H. Like it's very similar to what's going on here.
I also like the idea. Jacob Rees-Mogg sounds like the British version of the Hawk Tua girl. We have the Rees-Mogg girl over here.
Yeah. Don't let her give you a blowjob.
Absolutely,
for God's sake.
Very toothy. Yeah. And then this is other one from our friend Dan O'Sullivan. And this is the former prime minister, Rishi Sunak. And he is a guy, literally specifically, this like really tall guy. And this is 100% what happened. Ran for office specifically so he could hold up a big L behind Rishi Sunak on stage while he's giving the like concession speech or whatever.
I also like that he is somehow distracting from the candidate who has a ventriloquist
Yes.
dummy.
Yes.
That also has its own ribbon pinned on.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. If you scroll down, friend of the show, Brendel replies and says it's an S tier bit, and then Dan says, "I only just noticed one of the other guys has a motherfucking ventriloquist dummy with him. It seems almost impossible that would be the second thing you'd notice in a photo." Oh,
It's true though. That was the second thing I
it
noticed.
was, yeah, because you have the super tall guy wearing the really tiny sunglasses, holding up a big L.
Oh, man.
Incredible. Really,
There
really
was
good.
I think I've talked about him before, but there was this stand-up, well, he did stand up for a while, comedian in Vancouver who would run for mayor. I think still does, like every time there's an election.
Do I know him?
No.
No.
He was this tall guy, and he was very tall. He was probably like 6'6", and he would go by the name of the Black Jester because he dressed all in black.
Okay.
Or like a trench coat and a beret and small sunglasses, and he had a cane. Like he walked with a cane. Young guy though, like youngish.
Mhm.
And his stand-up, his whole thing was that he talked in a mumble monotone, so you couldn't understand anything he was saying.
Okay.
And he would get really mad at the crowd for not laughing, but you genuinely couldn't understand what he was saying.
Yeah.
And he would run for mayor every year on like some very bizarre platform.
Yeah.
And I wish Vancouver had this as well, because I would love to see the Black Jester standing on stage.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Mayoral candidates.
Our current mayor fucking sucks ass.
Oh,
my
just
God.
the worst guy.
I think the worst mayor in Canada right now, probably.
Is he new?
He's
Like a year?
almost 2 years now, I think, because because remember, right as the World Cup was happening, he flew to Qatar for the World Cup like a week after the election. On the city's dime, I believe, for like a fact-finding mission. You know?
Can't believe nobody's like tried to.
You probably do have to cut that out, Dan. I'm assuming, but he sucks. He was basically payrolled by the
cops.
Well, the cops and Chip Wilson, the founder of Lululemon. And so he ran on a platform where he's like 100 new cops and 100 new nurses. And let me tell you, we don't have those nurses yet.
Yeah, I was going to say,
we do have 200 cops.
Those you got.
We got a bunch. We got a bunch of cops
and 0 nurses.
Yeah, and also
he had like no, and I mean, whatever, like what is quote unquote political experience, but he had like none whatsoever.
The classic guy where he's like, I'm going to run this like a business, you know, just a big piece of shit.
He's got this new thing where they found out that he took one of the chambers in City Hall and turned it into a workout room.
A personal gym just for him.
A personal gym just for him because he's training for the Whistler Grand Fondo. And so it's like a workout room with a Peloton in the middle of it. And then these people found out about it and all these news outlets and people were outraged. And then he like turned it into this weird photo op. And he was like, oh, you want to see the gym? Like, come on over. And so then they filmed him and he's riding the Peloton while he's like being interviewed. And they're like, one of the reporters is like, oh, what kind of rides do you like to do? And he's like, well, I'm training for the Grand Fondo. So I'm doing 2-hour rides right now to like get ready for that. And there's only one guy on Peloton that does the 2-hour rides, but I can't remember his name, but whoever that is, those are the ones that, and so he's like, not only saying that he has this Peloton, but that he's taking 2 hours out of his workday to ride it so that he can train for
and like other city councilors have to have meetings like off site because this room was turned into a gym. And he's got there were a bunch of books on display too, and one of them was like a Bitcoin book, and he's just like he's just the worst. He sucks so bad.
Yeah, famous. It's like a famous grifter mayor. It's just like a type of guy it's the reason a guy like Buddy Cianci or like that family that like ruled Philadelphia or the family that ruled Chicago forever, despite the fact they're clearly like mobbed up and so corrupt. It's because like they will at least get the city things occasionally, but guys like that after their first term, it's just like I don't know that anybody has seen this guy near City Hall in like months.
I think he's going to get destroyed in the next election, I think, because people fucking hate him.
Oh, yeah. Even people who voted for him, like me, can't believe what he has done to the city.
Yeah. I did an absentee ballot, too. It was a lot of work to change my address to Vancouver from here, but I did it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
appreciate it. He also ran on basically a lie that they were going to put like a toll on like cars driving into downtown, which like wasn't true, and then got rid of a bunch of like bike lanes downtown, like right along the water that like people loved and really didn't have an issue with, and it's just like it's totally psychotic. It sucks.
Yeah, that's why I voted for him, because I wanted the bike lanes gone.
Sure.
That was kind of
Yeah.
my main thing. Cops and bike lanes out are kind of sort of my two political stances.
Yeah. What just related? What city do you live in now, John? What
I live in Calgary,
city?
dude. Why do you think I moved, brother?
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder if that might have something to do with it. I don't know.
Absolutely. I'm going to the Stampede tonight. I'm getting my cowboy hat on and my boots.
I feel like Calgary's mayor is more left-leaning than Vancouver's
She
mayor,
is,
right?
yes. Yeah.
Calgary's mayor is always pretty
Very
left leaning. Always.
Yeah.
It's a fucked up. It's one of those fucked up conservative cities where they're like, well, we want stuff. Like we want our taxes to pay for things for us, just like nobody else.
I think doing the comparison to a U.S. city, it's probably like Austin, right?
Calgary?
Yeah. Would it be?
No. Austin's cooler than Calgary, I feel like.
Well, I know it's that, but in terms of just being like a kind of a liberal bastion in like a more conservative area.
Well, let me say it's not a liberal bastion either, because it was the last city in Canada where people were like trying to block pride parades and stuff.
Oh, that's,
I've always thought of it as Dallas because it is completely a series of completely unconnected sprawling suburbs.
Okay, and Dallas is somewhat still like pretty right wing. Like
yes, but they will end up sometimes with like Houston is the one that ends up with like a lesbian mayor. Look, it's not a look, guys. There's no such thing as a perfect analogy. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what you want.
Well, we really need you to drill down exactly what U.S. city Calgary is.
Houston, Edmonton is Houston, and Calgary is Dallas. Is how I always thought of it, because one is the white collar oil money city, and the other is the blue collar oil money city, and neither one of them is pleasant to grow up in necessarily.
Yeah. And the Edmonton rap scene, very similar to the Houston rap scene.
That's true. We got Cadence Weapon and
the Oilers girl.
And the Oilers girl.
Yeah.
And that is it.
Is the Stampede happening? It's happening like right now.
It is. Yeah. We're not actually going to it.
Right. Do you guys have water now? Do you have running water again?
We have water again. Yeah. They turned the faucets back on, which was nice.
You missed most of that, though. I mean, you were away for the
we missed like 10 days of it. It was probably about 2 weeks more of it by the time we got home. It wasn't
like
really
a boil water alert on or
only
something?
in certain areas of the city. There was like a water main that broke. And then they went to go fix it, and they were like, oh, there's actually like, because originally they said it's going to be a week. They're like, we just got to go down, fix this water main because it burst. It was over in Boness. So,
hell yeah, Boness, local reference.
Absolutely.
Love it.
So Boness is where they had the boil water advisory.
Pine Ridge.
And then they went down to go. They're like, it's going to be a week where some people have to boil their water. Everyone else, like, no outdoor watering. Try to limit your shower time, your washing machine, your whatever. And dishwasher. And then they said, we went down to go fix it, and there's like 5 more spots that like could burst at any time, and we need to order a new water main basically. So they said it was going to be 3 to 5 more weeks, and then they ended up completing it on the quick end of the timeline, and it was about 3 weeks. Okay. But we were gone for about 10 days of that. So the only thing that really affected me is I play softball in Boness, and they had shut down the main road to get there, so I had to like take these back roads to get to my softball game. The water part,
I'm so sorry.
It was dude, it was really tough.
Yeah.
But the water part didn't really affect me. But yeah, the Stampede starts now, and I'm leaving on Monday. I'm gone for a week. So I'm missing most of the Stampede. But we've
got our summer summit coming up, John.
That's right.
I told JF about it, and he was like, wow, I'm actually shocked because you haven't been talking about it constantly on stream. So I didn't know it was coming up. Whereas last year, obviously it was a big trip last year. So I was talking about it more. But this is our fantasy hockey.
Will be coming out. We'll be home already by the time.
It'll be out on the Monday after the summit. Yeah. So hopefully I'll have the first overall pick locked up by then, and good to go. Yeah. This is the nerdiest thing we do. Well, I know it's a really, really high bar for that.
Don't you collect hockey cards?
Yep.
Yeah, that's nerdier
No.
That's nerdier than doing a weekend away with the boys to do a fantasy sports draft.
Well, I mean, it is
like, ooh, doesn't he look handsome on this card?
It is. I will say I might be bringing some hockey cards to open at the summit, which I think sort of, potentially makes that even nerdier. But
that's fun.
We have a full day set aside for like rules discussion, basically, which is pretty. I mean. It's so much fun. I love it. But
when you guys all get there, when the last man's in the room, do you put a big door up, a big sign on the door outside that says "pussy free zone"?
Those signs don't work. Will if someone wants to bring pussy in there, they will.
Yeah, your animal magnetism is too much for the pussy free zone sign.
Yeah, we put the He-Man Woman Haters Club sign on the front door.
Cool reference.
Thank you. Yeah, Little Rascals, baby. I hope someone doesn't understand that reference and they're like, "Wow, John really went for it on that one. That was what a joke." Now, Will, I do want to talk about before we get to the social media update you don't have. You have started a new pod, and I have already been a guest on it. It was a lot of fun, but your podcast is just titled "I Hate Bill Maher." Now, tell us about how that kind of started, because I think probably a lot of our listeners share that opinion. But you've really just laid it out bare. I mean, you just fucking hate this guy.
Yeah. So as sort of a preamble, my in-laws were in town. They just went home this morning, but yesterday my wife and I were driving over to see them, and we were just talking about my mental problems. And I was telling her that on some level I was dreading doing this today, because in my mind I had convinced myself. I was like, I know it's insane, but I can't shake this feeling that John is having me on Block Party to promote the podcast because he like feels bad for me. Like that's like my mental, where he's like, oh geez, this poor guy, he's got this show. I don't think anybody maybe a few of our most suckerish loser listeners will get roped into it. I don't know.
Well, that's not true at all. I had a really good time on the podcast,
these days.
And we both think you're very funny. Like when we have
look. I'm not here. I'm not fishing for compliments. I just wanted to put that out there. It's the same way sometimes I'm on stage, a set's going great. I just want to let the audience know, hey, just so you guys know, I am so mentally ill. A part of me is worried you're just making fun of me right now with your laughter.
We would never make fun of mentally ill people on here. And Dan, clip that.
95% of our audience.
Yeah, clip that for specifically my social media update today, which is exactly that.
It's just it's a pocket. Look, I hate Bill Maher. I've hated Bill Maher for a long time. Before the pandemic, my closer, I'd start off by saying I hate Bill Maher, and by the end, I'd have worked myself up into such a rage that I would end it by saying, I want to kill Bill Maher. This is not a joke. This is a credible threat on Bill Maher's life. Yeah. And it always destroyed. And anybody I ever told, it was half joking where I'd be like, I want to start a podcast just about how much I hate Bill Maher. And they'd be like, that'd be great. I hate him too.
Credible threats are really funny.
Do I have to edit out though?
The phrase credible threat is hilarious.
That's funny. Yeah, exactly. Just the phrase is good. Do you know Luke Taylor in LA? No. Very funny guy, former guest of the show. He has an ongoing bit where basically whenever we have him on the stream, when we had him on here as well, he will issue a credible threat to the life of Mr. Beast. And he'll just say, like, if I see that fucker in person, I'm tearing him apart. I'm taking him down. Like, and it's so funny every single time.
I think you have to get more specific. I would describe at the end of the bit how I would kill Bill Maher with a hammer.
He does get very specific as well. I just didn't want to, but.
Okay, then fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, that was like, the episode that's 2 days late that hopefully I'll have done by today. I had Charles Starr, who's You Girls.
Yeah, past guest of our show.
Great guy.
Yeah. I just told him, I was like, it's nice having a lawyer on because I can check with you all the things I've edited out of previous episodes to see if they were actually like libelous, like actually legally actionable or not. And he was like, oh yeah, for sure. And let me just say also that I know 100% for sure Bill Maher has killed people. And I was like, okay, well, people are just going to keep, people love to come on the show and just potentially get me in legal trouble. Look, I start off every episode by saying it's not like a metaphor. I don't get into other themes, other topics. Every episode is about hating Bill Maher. The first, I think, 20 episodes, first 20 episodes, plus we're going to watch the movie he made in 1991, his only starring vehicle. We're going through the first season
what movie? What movie did he make?
It's called Pizza Man.
What?
Yeah.
Wow,
trying to-
Stefan, you haven't heard of some obscure movie that like a celebrity made? Usually that's Stefan's absolute wheelhouse.
Oh my God.
Yeah, a guy, you would not believe how cheap the poster for this movie is.
I am looking at it right now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like him and a woman, and the phrase "pizza man." I really hate him, and it's both. I think he sucks and is like the worst comedian of all time, and like his success is like enraging to me, and I also think he is as reprehensible as a person can get. And the first episode, I had my friend, this comedian from Calgary, Jeff De Silva. He was on the first episode, and when I was doing it, I was like, I don't know. Is this just going to be a thing where it's like every episode is just going to like, I don't know, I don't like him and he sucks. But he ends the pilot of Real Time. He has Sarah Silverman do stand up, and at the end, he goes, "Oh, Sarah Silverman, everybody. Can you believe she sucks Jimmy Kimmel's cock with that mouth?" And I was like,
oh my God.
In that moment, I was like, this is the sign I needed. This is exactly what I was looking for. There have been a lot. There's one of the new rules, I think in like episode 5, the new rule. He goes, "New rule, no gay fraternities." And it's just like, this is the best shit I've ever seen. This guy who sucks so bad and has he's so bothered by the idea of gay fraternities is incredible. I talked about it with the guest for like 30 minutes because it's just like, why would this guy, he's not in college, he's not around fraternity, it's got nothing to do with him, and he's so emphatic. It's
so funny to be mad about, like, because obviously now everyone's mad about, like, you know, free speech shit on college. Like, if you're over the age of like 24 and you care about what's happening on a college campus and it's not sports related, you need to fucking kill yourself.
Yeah,
like straight
also,
up.
I'll say if you have student loans and you root for your alma mater's sports team, you're a fucking sucker and a loser, and you need to like go to therapy because you are getting like fucked so bad by that institution, and then you like spend your free time rooting for them to make even more money that you will never ever ever see a single dime of.
Yeah, he just has like his opinions. It's insane how he's just literally on the wrong side of everything outside of like weed, I guess, but then he makes it so annoying because it's like a whole part of his personality. So it makes me want weed not to be legal just for him. It's
not just that he's on the wrong side of every issue. It's that he's just wrong. He is constantly wrong. Yeah. He doesn't fact check anything. Years ago, listening to You Made It Weird, I remember Neil Brennan was on, and he was just like, he's like, no, dude, he's like, no, homosexuality will never be like fully accepted by society. No, because like, no man, like men will just never be okay with like being feminine. And I remember hearing that and being like, this guy is so sure of this thing. He has not put 1 second of actual thought into it. He has not thought about it. He has not researched it. He has not considered for a second. I wonder if other cultures have had different perspectives on this. I wonder if these values have extended historically to us, if we've even been different. And nope, he had that thought. And he immediately was like, I know this is fact because as a stand-up comedian, you think of a punchline, you write your way backwards into making it true, and then you say it on stage as if it is real life. That's how you do it. And it's like, and then when you start applying that logic to other things, you'll be wrong for the rest of your life and insist that you're correct. He's a goldfish brain. He'll have a conversation with someone about one thing on one episode, and then the next week he'll talk about that topic as if that conversation never occurred. It's truly episodic. It is episodic television in that anything that happened previously has no impact on what happens on episodes afterwards. It's like it's like Star Trek, the original series of late night TV.
Right. Have you seen I'm gonna link this here. This is my favorite post of his. Presumably you've seen this one. I used to retweet this one like once a month, and people will get so mad at me. Do you want to read this one aloud? Maybe Dan can bring it up. Oh,
what? my God. Oh, yeah, I remember this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so what? That Trump went to the UN and discussed Nambia, a country that doesn't exist. How many know that Nambia's capital is Kofifi?
Yeah. That still hits.
Is
It
the
still
joke
hits.
that Trump pronounced Namibia Nambia?
Yes, that's
Okay.
right.
Okay.
And then I guess the second layer of the joke, because he's a comedian's comedian, right? So
Absolutely.
you have to sort of, there's a lot of stuff going on here. The second layer
He's a
is that
comedian.
is that not only does Nambia exist, so Nambia, it's kind of confusing because he says it doesn't exist, but then he says it has a capital city, sort of undercutting the premise of the first sentence. But that's
what
fine.
what if it did exist?
But if it did exist, that's sort of the implication.
Yeah.
If it did exist, well, the capital would of course be Kofifi, the thing that Trump posted that one time.
So he was just at because a segment I do every week is Bill Maher news. I just have a Google alert for Bill Maher. It's like one of the worst things I've ever done in my entire life because it's mostly just clips from his show.
Yeah,
but he was at the Aspen's Ideas Festival, which is like so funny.
I hate that,
and
I really don't like that.
Aspen Ideas Festival.
That's real. I have some. I think actually
June 23rd and June 24th.
You
big and
loves
get
to
inspired.
loves to joke about the San Diego Ideas Festival.
Dude, yes, we
David
talked
Roth.
about
Yes,
yeah,
but it's so it's real but it's in Aspen.
Yes. Oh, yeah. These kinds. It's like Davos. Like these things where like rich people come together and go, and then it gets like a month of coverage in like newspapers.
This is crazy. It says 100+ sessions, 300+ speakers over a week, and it's the 20th year of the Ideas Festivals. Oh, so they're big. They're big people. They're advertising here are John Legend and Fisher Stevens.
Dude,
because I guess he did the Beckham thing, so he's got some ideas.
Fisher Stevens? Yeah, I mean, I like Fisher Stevens, but okay,
yeah,
all right.
But he's like, it seems like he's one of the kind of headliners,
right?
Yeah,
yeah. There's one Fisher.
Oh, you know the movie I love, yeah,
yeah. He was at the Ideas Festival, and Tina Brown asked him why he makes fun of Democrats more than Republicans, and I pulled up the quote. That's how dedicated I am to this. If I had a reason why I thought I was right about doing this, it happened after October 7th. I mean, people demonstrating for Hamas. It's like rooting for the planes on 9/11. Maher then looked out to the live festival audience for its muffled response to such sentiment. That's a joke, for fuck's sake. Come on, lighten up, white people. It's got all my favorite. It's got all my favorite shit in there. That's the best.
That's a classic Bill Maher right there.
Yeah.
White people doing a big. Come on, white people.
The joke bombing also.
It's not a joke when he's like that's a joke. It's like the implication that's a joke. By extension, it kind of means that all similes are jokes. Because like if that's a joke, you can extend that same label to any other simile and be like, come on, I made a comparison of one thing to another. Lighten up, white people. It's like him. He's mad. He's mad that a joke that sucks bombed. And then he does his own version of identity politics, a thing he supposedly hates, where he's like, okay, white people are so sensitive. It's like, nobody jokes about 9/11 these days. 9/11 is not like the number one source of humor online.
I like when I'm on Instagram, if I'm scrolling my reels, I'd say 1 in every 10 videos, the punchline is a plane flying into the World Trade Center. And the video was posted by like a 20-year-old.
Oh my God. I won't give any details about this because it was like a court case, but a friend of mine just had to testify in a court case and it took like years to get to trial. But when he was talking to his friend, he was testifying on behalf of, he was just like, he texted her after, he's like, I still can't believe that happened. I'm so sorry. If you need any help with anything, just let me know. Also, Bush did 9/11. And in court, they were like, what does this text mean? And they put up Bush did 9/11 up, I guess, to try to like discredit him. And he was like, I was just being stupid. It's just like I apologize. It's an inappropriate joke. But then he found out later that beforehand, oh my God, I can't. The person who was testifying on behalf of the like claimant,
Yeah.
They were just like, what's this thing about Bush did 911? And she looks and she's like, Bush, no, that's a 9/11 joke. And then all the jurors laughed. And I guess her lawyer was like, that's when I knew we were winning this thing.
Oh my God.
It's like, he told me that I had like cold sweats for months thinking about just text messages I might have sent somebody as a joke being used as like evidence. Like Dan, imagine your balls being used as evidence in a court case.
If Dan,
ball. I would love that.
Ball. Oh, right, ball.
Ball
Yeah,
will,
right.
yeah,
and on
please.
your phone, pull up the text chain between you and me. Our text chain. Just scroll back for like 30 seconds. How many pictures of shit are in those 30 seconds?
All right, you're gonna start a timer.
I'll start a timer right. Yeah, 1 sec. Okay.
I got you. Go ahead.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah.
30 seconds.
Go.
Okay.
Oh, I think we all thought he was going to be like counting them out as he.
Oh, okay. 5.
That's the best number to start with.
6, 7, 8. There's a picture of that. What's the guy on Twitter who's always pulling his fat ass and cock out? 9.
Which the guy?
I actually don't know who you're talking
10.
about.
That the guy who's always smoking weed and talking about his like dad or whatever.
Fuck, what's that guy's name? He looks insane, right? He's like a crazy.
He's severely mentally ill. Of
He's
course.
he's on Cameo, I think. I'm pretty
Is he?
sure. Yeah, I think he is.
God.
God, what's the guy's name? Anyway,
Devin. It's Devin.
It's Devin. Yes, that's right.
I will say I'm looking at the Pizza Man thing, and I'm looking at the cover of it, and I like that they went back and they like reissued it after he got famous because the VHS cover says before he was politically incorrect, before he did Real Time, Bill Maher, Pizza Man. So they were like going back and being
Hold on,
like,
that's not a complete sentence.
No, I know. It should say Bill Maher was Pizza Pizza Man.
Bill Maher. Like they had like a coughing fit while they were saying what to put on the title, and the person transcribing it just wrote it as exactly how they said it.
Yeah.
Bill Maher, Pizza Man.
And it says, and this I feel like is not a way you probably want to advertise like the movie you did, but it says a zany comedy from the team behind the cult classic Cannibal Women and the Avocado Jungle of Death.
Yeah, he was also in that. He's more of a co-star. Fun fact, Pizza Man was written and directed by the writer of Pretty Woman.
What?
Yeah, Pretty Woman was a very different script when it first got sold.
Yes, I knew that for sure. Yeah, I knew that, but it was like, even like this just makes me really upset. It says between shootouts, car chases, and steamy encounters with wicked dames.
Yes. Okay. So don't tell me anymore because we're watching it because a listener sent me an email and was like, "Here's a Google Drive with the movie in it. You got to watch this thing." You can only find like the 3 most recent seasons of Real Time on Max's website, and going through the first season, you can like really see why he. The main thing is he really hates women. It's crazy how much he hates women. There's one episode where they're talking about the troops, and it's a panel of all men. He goes, "No, hold on a second. Let's do a sidebar here. Enough with this. Men could never endure the pain of pregnancy, okay? What about the men overseas fighting our wars?" And it's just like, you hate women so much that you're going to be like, pregnancy's nothing compared to what the troops are dealing with right now in Afghanistan.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What a piece of shit.
But if you only want to listen, I'd say if you only want to listen to one episode, look, John's great, but the episode right after him is with Emma Arnold, who went with a bunch of other people to Hawaii with Bill Maher and talks about it. And I only cut out a few things she told me.
Right, because she opened for him or something?
She was Dana Gould's opener, and Dana Gould was going to, it was like Dana Gould. And here's the thing. It's like, you can go, you can see Dana Gould and Margaret Cho with Bill Maher in Hawaii over New Year's. doing shows. She was there then. He's just like the most, it brought me a lot of life because I was afraid Bill Maher is the rare person who is like happy living that way. And
Right.
Emma was like, no, he's not. So it made me feel a lot better.
Well, speaking of being unhappy with the way we're living, let's move on to our social media updates.
What a fucking good segue. Now let's move on. It's time to discuss what popped up in your feed. Who are you following? What did you see? Sports or politics, tweets and skis, hot takes on the TL or fast food freaks. It's our social media update.
All right, Will, we always like to start with the guest. What is going on your social media?
So, guys, I've got a lot going on my social media.
Hell yeah, dude.
No, so I had a hard time thinking of like a block for this episode. So, because my my Twitter account at Old Man Weldon, I got suspended like a while ago I got suspended for after Canadian Parliament applauded that old Ukrainian guy who ended up being a Nazi.
Yeah.
I just made a joke about how like if Russia actually invaded Ukraine to deal with the Ukrainian Nazis, they should probably drop a nuclear bomb on Canada because we famously do have a lot of Ukrainian Nazis in Canada. And my account was suspended for promoting violence, as if I have like a direct channel to Russia. It was like, you guys should.
Russia seeing your post. Damn, that's a good idea.
Yeah, Putin
my
just
God.
comes out and he's like, "We weren't gonna do it." And then, have you guys heard of this Old Man Weldon guy?
Dude,
Bit of a confusing Twitter name. He doesn't seem that old, but
I would
has some
take
good ideas.
I would take full credit for that. No way. I'd be like, sure, why not? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to get blocked. I'm going to try to get blocked over the span of the next 4 days. I'm sure it'd be easier if I had like a very like a big account, but like every account on Twitter is either a bot or essentially just behaves like a bot now that it's impossible to get any traction with anything. I was replying to just random blue checks I think I replied to like 200 posts under an Elon tweet, just being like, you're a pathetic loser to every single one of them. No response from any of them. I attacked journalists. I attacked celebrities. I attacked just sort of like resistance people with a lot of followers. Nothing. No likes, no replies. I could not get anything. And I remember in that moment being like, this website truly is dead now.
Yeah.
That you can't even get under a person's skin. Like it's like impossible unless you have a pre-existing big account. And that was truly the moment where I was like, oh, this is like really depressing now that you can't even have fun the way like the most like repellent of us used to have fun on this website.
Because
Just
people in
replying
the
to Aaron
replies,
Rupar and being like, you're a fucking dumbass. And he'd be like, how dare you? I don't spend 8 hours a day filming my television so that some guy can call me a dumbass on Twitter.
It sucks. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really on there anymore. Not with my main account, at least. And like the replies, everyone in the replies, they're actually like too stupid to function. So you can't really piss them off because they like. I legitimately consider anyone paying for the blue check, like I consider them like basically like the level of like an amoeba or something.
I'm going to start paying. I said this last week, but I'm going to start paying for the blue check.
But you're doing it for the right reason.
Yeah, I'm going to start
make
being
a lot
Eric
of money.
Alper. I'm going to start trying to get as many engagements as I can I'm going to start making money. It's time to get out there on the content farm, you know?
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, I go through runs where I just click on a popular tweet and then just block every single account with a blue check mark.
Yeah.
Well,
do you have the extension? There's the extension in I think Firefox or Chrome where it'll just automatically, as you're scrolling down in replies, it'll just block everyone who pays for the blue check.
No, I'm the Paul Bunyan to that thing's automation where I'm all about hard work.
You want it to be personal.
You want to get out there with your axe.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I'm a real Joe Lunch Pail when it comes to blocking blue checks on Twitter. Ironically, I'm a real blue collar guy when it comes to that sort of thing. So yeah, my social media update is just like making a real legitimate attempt at doing a thing you used to be able to do, and it just like failing so utterly and completely, and just And then I'm like, oh man, and Blue Sky. Look, I pop on Blue Sky sometimes. Blue Sky is like a forum for people to mourn the death of Twitter. It's like,
Yes.
it's like for like old school posters, and that's where they go to be like, but what's like a tweet you really loved?
Yeah.
Like it
I
is
try
in
to
its own way
avoid
also depressing.
that part of it, but it is very much like everyone on there is like 35 to 40. And
Yeah.
I enjoy it because it is like a much nicer vibe than Twitter.
Yes.
And I feel like it's gotten a little bit more popular recently because there are a lot of normies on there, which I think is a good sign. And you can like fool people very easily on there, which is a lot of fun. So it's like getting there, I think. But yeah, it's obviously nowhere near like 2014, 2015 Twitter, like in its prime.
Yeah, and nothing will ever be as it just feels like the
It was a
days of
perfect
being
storm.
Yeah, and like nobody will ever be like horny online the way people were in like 2013, 2014. I mean,
Blue
I say
Sky,
people.
I don't know.
I was guilty.
Blue Sky, there's people are pretty fucking horny on Blue Sky.
They
Okay,
are.
if people start flying to other cities to fuck someone they only know through Blue Sky, then I will officially say Blue Sky is here and it's ready to go. But until that starts happening, it's I don't know.
I don't know if they're there yet, but there's definitely like the classic like the guy who's like, oh, I'm like Blue Sky's goodest boy, you know. And then you're like,
Okay.
oh, this guy's like a fucking freak. You know?
Yeah, you're
this
out.
guy's for sure got a leash on right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking about exactly like even with celebrities, like I can remember my first ever block on Twitter, and the first one I talked about on this show on one of the bonus episodes was former Toronto Blue Jays pitcher Marcus Stroman. And it was because it was when McDonald's was doing all day breakfast. And he had some kind of tweet about like being stoked that McDonald's had all day breakfast. And he didn't like say it was an ad or sponsored content or whatever, but it obviously was.
Mhm.
And I was just like, you're a professional athlete, like as if you're eating McDonald's breakfast at like 8 p.m. at night. And he blocked me for that. And it's like, I miss those days of like even just a sort of innocuous thing where a celebrity would be like, I don't want to be bothered by you anymore. Where now I think it's just everybody is being bothered all the time. So there isn't like a way to stand out anymore because it's just like that's what going on Twitter is now, is like half of it is I'm just being bothered all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if everybody's suicidal, who gives a shit if you pull a gun on someone? They're like, go ahead. I don't fucking care. Yeah, the beginning of the end was when they installed the functionality where you could set it to you only see replies from people you follow. It's like, no, the best thing about Twitter was that like finally anyone can tell Jonathan Chait what they think of him.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, if you're going to have that kind of like entitled position in society that is totally unearned, there should be a forum where if you want to be a part of that forum, you have to directly face the blowback on that forum from you. Oh my God. I mean, the horniest post of all time is Jonathan Chait just being like, I don't know, like replying to some woman talking about wearing a choker and him being like, I just don't understand why a woman would want to wear something called a choker. Like you can post your dick and balls being jacked off by 9 people while you like drool cum out of your mouth, and it's still not as horny as Jonathan Chait being like, why would women want to wear something called a choker? I just don't understand it. Like it's like repellent. It's so nauseating.
That and the picture of his like eye, his like sweaty head with
injury.
his oh my God, dude.
Yeah, being like, do I need
Nasty.
stitches? And he's just got like a little like a weird like bloody cut on his eyebrow, and
But
it's like
still
you have
like
a
really
problem.
It was still like gross though. It was just because he was so sweaty and just the angle of it. It just felt really.
Yeah, and it was his face.
Yeah,
Like
I
I
guess
feel
that's
like
probably
that's
part
the
of it.
most. That's the most important part. It was Jonathan Chait's face in close up.
Stefan, what's going on your social media?
Well, Mikey Miles has posted 2 really unhinged things. He posted one this morning, and I feel like
Nothing's
these are
changed here, Will. Just in case you're wondering, you haven't been on the show in about a year and a half. Nothing's changed over here.
I pop in. I still, a long time listener. One of the only podcasts I still will listen to sometimes.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank
we
you.
appreciate
If
it.
I listen every week, sorry, I go insane and my wife doesn't want to be around
I think
me.
that's reasonable. That's totally reasonable.
Yeah, very
this
reasonable.
is a picture he posted this morning, and it's related to a video he posted a couple weeks ago. Just truly insane. I think what pisses me off the most about this, the t-shirt says, it's the back of, it's a black t-shirt. It says, eat pussy, it's healthy on the back of the shirt in like an insane, like cowboy font, I would say.
Yeah, cowboy font's a good way to describe it.
It fits him in a really weird way, I feel like, partially because he's like 5'2". You know, his watch is about to fall off. I mean, he's so fucking crazy.
Okay. Sorry, keep going, and then I have a reveal here, I think.
Sure. Yeah. And then the caption is when Mike buys a new t-shirt, and then he uses this fucking emoji so much, and it drives me insane, but it's like the cross-eyed like tongue sticking out emoji, and I just want to I can't stand it. And then level 38, by the way, the hashtag he's using is referring to the fact that he is 38 years old.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway,
that looks like a piece of Adam Page merch if he had like a nervous breakdown and got fired from AEW.
So I was like, okay, I'm curious because in the photo, if you're not watching the video of this, in the photo, Mikey Miles has his arms spread out and he's facing away from the camera. Yeah. So I was like, oh, I wonder what's on the front of this shirt. And then I looked it up and I looked at like 5 different websites. And from
it's Rockstar Original, I think, is the brand.
Great. And from everything I can tell, this is the front of the shirt. And
that's what I thought.
Turned it around backwards. To
yes.
Christ-like pose without showing his face.
I was sort of
the
thinking
Rockstar Original shirt. It is on the front of the shirt.
Yeah. Fucking, if you wear this shirt, I think the cops should actually be allowed to just like shoot you.
You can wear this shirt. What's wrong with it?
Well, Dan, I think you can pull it off, but this is like psychotic. Anyway, this is sort of related to a video he posted like 2 weeks ago, which I told John about, but I don't think I showed him. Dan, you've seen this. This is arguably the worst thing Mikey Miles has ever posted.
Which
I don't say that lightly. This is him eating an avocado. And he says, I swear I was trying to lick the avocado out and not practice for anything else. LMAO. And then cry laughing emoji 5 times. And then hashtag sounds. Hashtag just a kid from New York. And then, sorry, pause for a sec. The top comment is, I showed this to my therapist and they told me I could kill myself. And if you can't see this, you will be able to hear it. Oh.
Why did you show us?
Well, I wanted to save it for Will. I was like, this has to be for the right guest.
So I want to say I was like, I should ask Stefan to do I Hate Bill Maher too. And then I was like, I need to find the absolute worst panel I can to subject him to.
It needs to be like Louis C.K., Bill Cosby.
And Dennis, dude. I mean, another great, the Dennis Miller, the first time Dennis Miller is on the panel is incredible. I just want to say, one, never, ever, ever eat an avocado like this. Like he's being like, I swear I was trying to lick the avocado out. It's like, lick the, nobody's
That's
ever
not a thing.
Also, him like, and not trying to practice for anything else. It's like, I hope you're not trying to practice for anything else because never eat pussy like this ever.
Yeah.
What? Who would ever like get it, like getting your tongue in as far as you can and like
biting it and like pulling back really it's
how do you eat pussy, Stefan?
I mean, I was eating it like this and now I'm not, you know. I realized I do want to say I feel like Dennis Miller on Bill Maher is like when people would do the prank call where they make 2 pizza places call each other and they're just like going back and forth. Yeah,
dude. It is exactly that. Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can find.
You know what? They should go. He should do like an all Dennis panel. Dennis Miller, Dennis Leary, Dennis Rodman, and then you're cooking
who's the pedophile guy in Congress? Dennis Hastert or whatever. Get him on.
Go with an all problematic Dennis panel.
God. Anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that. So,
and thank God you did.
Yeah. John.
I also like he's frozen and he's so frozen, like standing with his back and his arms out. Listen, look how much being on this podcast fucking makes me sweat. The way he's posed, like that, like back and his arms out, he's so frozen in the moment people discovered him online that hashtag sounds. I was like, oh my God, this guy doesn't even know what ASMR is because he's so frozen in a moment before we started talking about ASMR.
Yeah,
God,
he's so
what
dumb.
if?
When I saw the video,
dead.
when I saw the video, I immediately went to the Mikey Miles subreddit and someone had posted the video and there were like 20 comments and everyone's like, I came here as soon as I saw this video. Oh my God, what is happening? John?
I like that for online guys, that's like when a big trade happens in a sport.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
I got to talk with my people about this. This is a big moment.
Yeah.
Well, I think as a nice counterpoint to Stefan, my social media update is about books.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was hoping it was something normal.
Just trying to bring it back around. Well, this is honestly one of my favorite tweets. It's from 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago exactly, July 2022. And it's from Amelia Elizalde, and the tweet is, every book is called The Tiny Things We Know to Be Small or The Darkest Wife. Yeah. Which is so true. Like, you go into a bookstore, all the covers look the same. They all have titles like that. And then someone quote tweeted it. Jacob Rubashkin tweeted it. He's looks like he works for something. Used to work for CNN, and he said went to the bookstore today, and he took a picture of a book called All Things Are Too Small and another book called The Deepest Lake. It's like exactly the tweet.
Oh, that's really good. That is very, very accurate because I've got I got my Kindle. And I just finished reading a book yesterday, and I was like, "Well, I'll see what's on Kindle Unlimited or whatever, which is like where you can like download the books for it's anyway." And it is all shit like that. It's like here's what's popular here.
It's
like
also
just the worst dog shit in the world.
The Deepest Lake. The author's name is Andromeda Romano Lax.
I love that. That's really good. Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. The Deepest Lake.
The Deepest Lake, a novel by Andromeda Romano Lax, and All Things Are Too Small: Essays in Praise of Excess by Becca Rothfeld.
Wow. There you go.
Really good.
Very, very accurate post.
We should see what the Deepest Lake is about.
Yeah.
The deepest.
I bet it's about a pretty deep lake, but metaphoric.
It's got to be about a murder, right?
It's my guess. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's about dealing with trauma. That's my legitimate guess. Is the deepest lake is the trauma within this person.
Wow. I think it's a horror book, but it sounds like it is a trauma book.
Will is right on it here. Rose,
I'm very writerly in that I'm a hack.
Rose, the mother of 20-something aspiring writer Jules, has waited 3 months for answers about her daughter's death. Why was she swimming alone when she feared the water? Why did she stop texting days before she was last seen? When the official investigation rules the death an accidental drowning, the body possibly lost forever in Central America's deepest lake.
Sorry. I thought that was going to be a metaphor, but
it is though. But
I was wrong.
Sure.
It's both. It is about the deepest lake, but it serves as a metaphor for grief being An unsatisfied Rose travels to the memoir workshop herself. She hopes to draw her own conclusion and find closure. When Rose arrives, she is swept into the curious world created by her daughter's literary hero, the famous writing teacher Eva Marshall, a charismatic woman known for her candid and controversial memoirs.
Wow. Okay. I like the sequel to this, The Shallowest Pond, where their other kid gets killed and they very easily find the body.
Yeah. And they didn't like the kid, so they process it really fast.
Yeah. Oh, this is okay. Cool. All right.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? We lost a good one. Who gives a shit?
You guys, you know how it is. Literally one of the comments is just Andromeda Romano Lax. Damn. Great tweet reply. And then this is the other thing is like, obviously this guy is just responding to the joke. And the fourth reply down, All Things Are Too Small is a very, very brilliant book of essays. And the title is actually relevant. Just saying. Wow. It's like, shut up, man.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's like the only person still like legitimately using Twitter is like the most annoying pedant you've ever seen in your life, or still using where you're just like, fuck off. Like,
Yeah.
Let me-
It's
it's
literally
like
what
you're
John was
eating-
talking about on the last episode, is how those guys are still out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they
still
love
batch
it.
posting. Yeah.
Fucking stupid. Anyway,
Yeah.
speaking of pedants online, let's move on to our block tale.
What did you tweet? You brought receipts, Blocktail. Woo! No longer can see the post. It's a Blocktail. Woo! You probably deserved it. It's a Blocktail.
So, Will, you said you had some difficulty getting blocked. Did you eventually seal the deal?
No, but I did remember the last block I got.
Okay.
Originally I was like, I guess I'll just talk about the time during the 2016 NBA playoffs. The Raptors played so poorly and so erratically against teams that were also playing really poorly and erratically that like I started having a nervous breakdown and just kept repeatedly blocking and unblocking every single Raptors related piece of social media. I could like DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, the Raptors, all their social media accounts. I'd delete them all. They'd win. I'd unblock them. They'd lose. I'd block them all again in like a screaming fit in my apartment. But then I remembered last night I'm hanging out with my in-laws and I'm like, oh my God. I remember when Jeff Ross blocked me, comedian Jeff Ross. I don't know if you recall, he was accused of dating a 15-year-old by the woman who was 15 at the time. Big Vulture story about it, very thoroughly reported. He denied it. He was like, a bunch of the sources in the Vulture article, he was like, they didn't do their research because those sources have all denied it. And it's like, well, they didn't deny it initially on the record with Vulture. And he just said, he was like, I'm going to sue them for libel. And a couple months after the story came out, I just tweeted, I didn't @ anybody. I just tweeted, has Jeff Ross filed that lawsuit yet? Blocked within like an hour.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So clearly either he
Name
or
searching.
like a public relations firm was name searching. And I'll say, he did end up suing that woman for libel in the New York State Supreme Court. The case was recently dismissed with prejudice at his request, with no money, no settlement, nothing. So I don't know. Read into that whatever you want.
Interesting. Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe as if you file a lawsuit just to get the word out that you filed a lawsuit, and then you wait a little while and then have it dismissed with prejudice.
What
Who
is the
knows?
point
Who
of
can say?
blocking you in that instance? Like, I don't really get what that
You can't
is.
see his funny posts and stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah, he's
deserve
like-
this.
Yeah, or it was Jeff Ross being like, I am a pedophile. I need to block this guy's really good account to punish myself for my behavior. No, I think he probably was just in a sweaty fit that everybody knew he was had a long-term relationship with a 15-year-old,
Right.
long-term sexual relationship with a 15-year-old. Listen, if that 15-year-old, if he was, because he said she'd been trying to shake him down for money for a long time. She had talked about it in like a storytelling class. She had talked about it with friends. There's like a long track record of her talking about it with people in the past. There are photos of them together at events, like sort of leaning into each other the way you do with people you know. If this is a frame up, it is one of the greatest frame ups in the history of the legal system, because it is thoroughly convincing, the mountains of evidence that she has.
Well, it's
I
kind of
think
like
he just-
Dane Cook, right? Like where, you know, I think they're engaged, but like there's
Yeah.
pictures of them like,
I believe they're wed.
Yeah.
there's pictures of them like at like a games night. He was hosting like a monthly games night or something, and she was showing up there when she was quite young.
Yes. Yeah,
So
I
they
know
they
things-
are wed. They are
Yeah.
indeed wed.
Yeah, I know things about his game night parties that Dan would have to edit out of the podcast because it's all
Oh.
hearsay. I've all had
Yeah.
it reported to me like third hand.
Yeah.
Nothing that crazy, but just where you're like, ooh. Yeah, I mean, they met when he was like, yeah, she started coming to my game nights when she was 17. And you're like, okay, like, yeah.
Well, the games were all 8+, so like,
Yeah. It was Mario Party. Calm down,
Yeah.
you moral scolds.
I
Yeah,
do like if you go to Dane Cook's Wikipedia, it says in 2017, Cook began dating fitness instructor Kelsey Taylor, who is 26 years his junior, and the words 26 years his junior hyperlinks to the Wikipedia entry for age disparity.
That's so bad to have
That's
a
a really
hyperlink
good
to that
bit.
on your page. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Really
Yeah,
good
that-
bit.
Oh,
That's like if you have a Wikipedia page, it's like John Cullen is a Canadian comedian, and then you're like, what's this hyperlink? And you click on it, and it just redirects to like shitty comedians on Wikipedia.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, yeah, and it's like yeah, I really believe I think if a guy is willing to date an 18-year-old when he himself is in his late 40s, I for sure believe that guy is also going to wait until that woman is 18 if he met her when she was 17.
of course. Of course.
Those two
yeah.
behaviors absolutely go together.
Yeah. God. And Dane Cook. I mean, Jeff Ross looks insane now too, but Dane Cook looks fucking nuts. He looks like what's her name? Jocelyn Wildenstein or Wildenstein, the woman who looks like a cat with like all the insane plastic surgery where she's like super puffy. That's what Dane Cook looks like now.
He's got a lot of. He's got
He's
some
so
filler. He's
puffed
got
up.
a
It's
real filler
crazy.
situation going on there.
He's also a fellow Twitch streamer, so I do respect him for that. And his stream is so nuts because it's just him sitting in his basement in his like projector room playing PS5 and like not talking or interacting with the chat at all. And so he's just playing on his it's fucking crazy. And there's a clip, our friend Tom Walker, this is maybe his favorite clip of all time, but it's Dane Cook being flashbanged repeatedly, playing like Call of Duty Black Ops or whatever. And because he's just playing in his dark projector, like his theater room with a huge screen, when he gets flashbanged like 8 times in a row and his screen just goes white, like his entire, and it's just, you see him there, he's just sitting there expressionless and just going white every like few seconds. And it's so fucking funny. It's incredible. Yeah.
The way you described it, I don't know if any of you have seen the director's commentary for R. Kelly's Trapped in the Closet, but it's him. It's
What a
dude,
sentence!
it's incredible.
No, I haven't.
Well, now now my screen is frozen, but that's not as bad. It's like he's like he's sitting in he's sitting in a recliner with his back to the camera, and you're watching Trapped in the Closet on a screen, and he periodically will turn around and look over his shoulder and face the camera and say something about what you just watched. And then he turns back around and keeps watching it while he's smoking a huge cigar.
God, that's really good.
My
That's so
camera's
good.
out now, right?
Your camera
Yeah.
is frozen. Yeah, that's okay.
You look cool though. It's like a cool.
You do.
self
It's a good pose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's a little bit
Jesus
of karate.
Christ.
It's a little Karate Kid esque.
And I'm trying to refresh, but it just won't.
You may have, if you leave the call and come back, it might.
Are you
might
guys?
fix
I'm
are
about
you
to
guys
go to
gonna-
the listener block so we can edit
Yeah,
this
it's a
out
good
and it'll
time
be an
to-
easy
Okay,
cut
great.
point.
You guys aren't gonna fucking wig out if I leave for a second.
No,
I won't be editing it out, though.
No, you're good.
no.
You're fine.
No. 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 No.
No,
No. 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 No.
no,
No.
no,
No. No. No.
no. We got a great listener block this week as well, and I think this might be one of my favorites ever.
Wow.
It's an in-person block, and it's sent in from F. They just wanted to only have us use their first initial, but very funny. Hi, Blocked Boys and guest. I have an in-person block tale concerning my mom that I think you might like. A few years back, she found herself in the unfortunate position of having to make a connecting flight while desperately needing to pee. She ended up running frantically to the next gate, but sadly wet herself on the way. She managed to get there just in time, but upon arriving, several airline personnel stepped in front of her to block her and told her, "Ma'am, you cannot get on this flight." And my mom replied by saying, "Oh no, is it because I pissed my pants?" The airline personnel were puzzled by my mom's statement and responded, no, the aircraft needs to be changed." Because of the resulting delay, she luckily had time to buy a new pair of pants and clean up. I hate to blow up my mom's spot, but to be fair, she tells the story all the time. Thanks for the podcast. You make Mondays more bearable. F.
That's really funny.
Really
That's
good.
so good.
I don't believe that this person hates to blow up their mom's spot.
No, this sounds like a story
they
they've
were
told
really
a
excited
lot.
to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a good, yeah. Is it because I pissed my pants? Like the airline personnel can see you coming and they know that you
know. Yeah.
I also started laughing just thinking the reason this person was like only use my first initial is because their first name is a racial slur or a homophobic slur. So they're like probably best if you just use the initial.
Yeah, just say F. Yeah.
It's not unless they are lying on their email name, which
I don't want to turn John into the Pope, so maybe just use my first initial.
If you want to send in a listener block, you can do so by sending us an email at blocked@blockparty.com, and maybe we'll read it on the show, just like we did for our good friend F. You can also donate to the show at patreon.com/blockparty. $5 a month gets you access to 3 bonus episodes every single month. Last week, we had fan fave Christine Bordelin on the show to review a block of Stephens, which was a lot of fun. We also have merch discounts, ad-free episodes, and more. So check it out, patreon.com/blockparty. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at BlockPartyPod. You can follow us on Blue Sky at BlockParty. And if you want to see the video of this episode, it's over on YouTube, youtube.com/@BlockParty. And of course, if you like the show, please tell a friend. Will, we are here at the end of the show. That means it's time for the top 3.
3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1.
Uno, 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 uno.
Mustard.
3.
Socks. 2. Girlfriends.
Uno, 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 uno.
All right, Will, what do you have for us?
So my top 3 is the top 3 actors you find sleazy for reasons you can't really explain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like that. I like that a lot. Will, you want to start us off with your number 3?
Yes. So my number 3 actor I find sleazy for reasons I can't really explain is Matthew Broderick.
Oh, okay.
Not just because he killed a guy while he was driving like 30 years ago. That's not a factor.
Actually separate from the vehicular homicide.
Yeah. I've got another one of those coming up too, where it's separate from a horrible thing they did.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. Yeah, definitely. Stefan, you're number 3.
Oh man, it's tough because I'm thinking of guys that like play sleazy guys, but aren't necessarily. You know who kind of seems a little sleazy to me is Mark Ruffalo, even though by all accounts has like very good politics and everything, and is from what I've heard a very nice guy. Maybe I don't know, but I could maybe it's just that he's like scruffy. I think there's kind of a crossover with like sleaze and scruff a little bit.
Hey, Stefan, for reasons you can't really explain, you don't have to justify anything to anybody, especially John.
Mark Ruffalo.
No, Stefan, I need you to lay it out for me. Very explicit. Okay, my number 3, and I feel like maybe I'm missing the topic on this one, but I'm going Woody Harrelson. I feel like he just probably is sleazy.
Yeah.
But, I just everything about him I don't like, and I think he's like a fine actor or whatever. But yeah, like he was on SNL this year, and I was just like, oh, he doesn't.
I want to say again, this is not trying not to explain it, but I do want to say, is he an RFK guy? I feel like he's.
His politics are very bad. Yeah,
you know,
he's kind of come out.
A weird thing about Woody Harrelson is so his dad is in jail for murdering a judge like 40 years ago or something, and he insists to this day that his dad is innocent. His dad is not innocent. But in the book No Country for Old Men, Sheriff Bell's internal monologue, he remembers over the course of the book multiple like terrible crimes that happened as the sort of going along with the theme of like the country's always it's never been a country for old men. And one of the murders he remembers is the murder Woody Harrelson's dad committed.
Oh my God.
Against the judge. It's extremely weird that's in there.
Yeah.
And Woody Harrelson is when he did an AMA for a movie and everybody on Reddit was like, so your dad definitely killed that guy, right? And Woody Harrelson was like, I'm just here to talk about the movie. And they were like, that's not how an Ask Me Anything goes. And he just left over it. Like he still insists his dad is innocent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I feel even better keeping him in number 3. Will, your number 2, please.
Steve Guttenberg.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So and specifically, I can kind of trace this one. I don't know. So like I saw Three Men and a Baby recently, and like I saw the Flophouse live, and they did Three Men and a Baby, so I watched it beforehand. And then like now he's this older guy. I think he's like a real estate guy or something, Steve Guttenberg. But there's this weird period where he briefly tried to come back, where he was on like that episode of Party Down, and he had a Comedy Central pilot that didn't go because it was terrible. And he's so jacked, and his face is so tight from like the work he's had done. It's seeing that. I just remember being like, this guy's the grossest creep I've ever seen in my life, and I can provide no more information than that. But I think outside of that period, he probably was like, whatever, annoying, because he seems like an annoying guy. But I think specifically that period in his 50s, I'm like one of the sleaziest guys in the world. I'm positive.
Wow. That's a good pick.
I like that, Stefan.
I'm going to go with John Hamm, number 2.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I like him in a lot of the stuff he's in, but he does seem kind of sleazy. And he's always being pictured with his big cock, you know? Anyway, John, go ahead. Well, it's like, I mean, it's with him, but you know what I mean? It's like visible a lot of the time.
Leave it at home once in a while, you fucking creep.
Put your cock away, bro. Do like Prince Albert did and chain it to your leg.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 2. I don't know if this is allowed. I'm going with a woman here.
Okay.
And I am going with Mayim Bialik. I think that she nearly ruined my beloved Jeopardy. I think she's a real piece of shit. There's absolutely skeletons in that closet. You can just see by looking at her, aside from the obvious skeletons of like her sort of anti-vaccinations standpoint, her selling like brain enhancers that are absolutely not real. There's something about her. She's wormy. I don't like it. She's a worm. Mayim Bialik is my number 2. Will, your number 1.
So my number 1 is also a woman. I'm going with Emma Roberts. And again, unrelated to the fact that like 10 years ago, she was arrested for abusing her boyfriend, fellow actor Evan Peters.
And is related to Eric Roberts, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's her dad.
I'll be honest, that's a big part of it.
Okay, yeah.
Definitely a huge part of it. But yeah, there's this really awful like holiday themed romantic comedy she's one of the stars of that I've like made my wife watch. And it's like fascinating, but I was watching the Scream she's in, and she ends up being the secret bad guy in it. And she was like trying to kill it was a part of the movie where she's like confessing to what she's done and trying to kill someone. And my wife walked in, looked at what I was watching, and asked, "Oh, is Emma Roberts playing herself in this?" And that's when I realized that she is like one of the most unsettling, skeevy people I've ever seen on screen.
Yeah. That's a good pick.
Love it. Stefan?
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah. Great pick.
I think that one's
like it.
pretty self-explanatory.
I can get there.
Yeah. You love being a conductor. All right, we get it.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Good for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 1, and I think this might surprise a lot of people, but I'm going with Kevin Spacey.
Okay. All right.
No, I would say this is tough. I'm kind of between two guys here. But I think I'm going to go with, and I feel like this is kind of a classic answer too. But I got to go with Jared Leto. It's just a bad scene all around. And like, especially when I'm a big fan of My So-Called Life, and he is just like otherworldly hot in that movie or in that show. And just like, to be, you could just be like a hot guy. You don't have to be this, whatever it is you're doing. And he's so into the UFC, and I'm a big UFC guy. So he's always on they always show him in the crowd at UFC events. And I'm like, get this fucking guy off my screen.
Yeah, go back to Donald Trump instead.
Yeah, exactly. Show me Donald Trump Jr. He was at the last pay-per-view. They're like, all the stars are out tonight. And they showed Donald Trump Jr. like,
Donald Trump Jr., Kevin Spacey, that guy who stabbed that female tennis player in the middle of a match. They're all here tonight at UFC.
And the Nelk boys. It's time for full send. But yeah, Jared Leto, my number 1. I mean, really sad to say, but I feel like we could have gone 10 deep on that one.
My
There's
God,
a lot of choices there.
Yeah. I'm turning into my grandmother when it comes to just being like, that celebrity is a bad person. And it's like, why? And it's like, I just know.
Yeah, totally. I mean, and honestly, most of the time you're going to be right.
Yes.
Yeah.
If they're a famous and or rich person, they're probably bad.
Yeah.
Just the way it goes. Will, thank you so much for returning to the show. Always a pleasure to have you on. Before we go, anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, actually, can I read a Dennis Miller quote from the first time he was on?
Yes,
please do.
Please.
Real time. So it was Dennis Miller, Ariana Huffington, and Monica Crowley, who was also on the panel when John was on the show. Bill Maher sexually harasses her immediately.
And she is not, she's like attractive in a like Republican wife way. Like she's not actually attractive.
Yeah.
But like he was just absolutely, it was gross the way that he was talking about her. It was nasty.
This ties into that because Monica Crowley and Ariana Huffington are like really arguing with each other, and Dennis Miller, who has been so annoying, and Ariana Huffington really hurts his feelings on the episode. It's very funny how under his skin Ariana Huffington, how under his skin she gets. But they're arguing, and Dennis Miller looks at Bill Maher and he goes, "You love watching the girls fight, don't you, Bill?" And then Bill Maher is trying to move it along. He goes, "Yeah, I love a chick fight." And Dennis Miller goes, "Yeah, like a sexual square dance caller in the yellow shag carpet room at Plato's West."
Oh. And this is the stuff you talk about on your show.
Oh yeah. We talked about that one for a while.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
My God.
I love when a comedian goes where like the joke is the description, but like you hate that comedian, so every word of the description is just a nightmare.
Yeah. I couldn't stop talking like you're giving bad advice like a guy on a bus encouraging somebody to jack off. Like I could not stop saying shit like that around the apartment. Yeah, he doesn't do comedy. He just does these like insane analogies. Oh God, he's really bad. And Bill Maher loves it. Loves that shit
because it's the jokes he wishes he could be doing. Because he does like a low rent version of that.
Yeah.
So he probably sees Dennis Miller and he's like, "Fuck, that is good. I wish I wrote that." Fuck.
Abu Radley. I wish I'd made that joke about catching terrorists in Iraq. I'm not going to explain. It's difficult to explain because it didn't make sense when he said it. But he makes the pun. He says something like, "I mean, how many Abus do we got to catch? Abu Radley over there?" And it's like, you just have this moment where you're like, this guy was smart. And there was a period of time where we were all so fucking stupid. We were like, that's a smart guy. That's a smart guy. You know, he can reference To Kill a Mockingbird, a book children read. Wow, that's a smart guy.
So Will, plug your show here.
It's called I Hate Bill Maher. You know,
a fun show. I was on an ep. It's a great time. A good look at a very confusing time in history where Bill Maher was seen as one of the smart guys, as Will says. And people can follow you on Instagram. You're at Old Man Weldon on there?
No. Deceased. Now it's I Hate Maher Pod is on Twitter, but like I don't really, I post the episode. I guess I'm on Blue Sky. If you want to come over to Blue Sky, it's Old Man Weldon.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm having fun over there. Check it out.
Yeah.
Listen to I Hate Bill Maher. Great show. And as for us, again, you can follow us Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Block Party Pod, YouTube and Blue Sky at Block Party. And you can donate to the show at patreon.com/blockparty. Please do. We'll see you back here next week. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.